right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and highest honors to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Ramchak Wadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai, the name of the one you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, the names in Paleo in Hebrew. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, that rule well. Salutations to you brothers that preach, teach, and prophesy this word and truth and sincerity as we put our lives on the line in these last days to bring you this raw and this uncut truth. It's the brother Ariaga from the Grand Rapids, Michigan camp here with another nifty lesson. To you few brothers and sisters that may see this, Shalom. All right, so let's get straight to it. Global chaos. It's a lot of things going on at this very moment all around the world. And it's not a small, insignificant thing because there's peace being taken away from this planet. All right. And on all fronts, all countries, from the north, east, south, and west, there's hell breaking loose. Okay. Which is prophesied in this word. And this is why the prophets of the Lord have been risen up once again, as they often have been in the last of days, or in the end of a kingdom, the end of an age, to bring about this truth in this word and bring the preparation to those that the Lord has favor in, and tell those of the 2/3 of our people and the rest of the nations, the atrocities that are about to befall them on a magnanimous scale this time around. All right. So let's get straight into it. All right. And as you can see, this is over in the UK. All right, because you have a heavy concentration of Muslims in that area, and the Free Palestine movements are getting more and more intense as these Israelis continue to commit these acts of genocide, you know, against the Palestinians, and say that they're going to South Africa to liberate them next, and all kind of crazy ass mess, man. All right. Getting nifty out here, man. Mm-mm. Mm. That's good. Here goes a look in China.
That was the site outside of China's most recent bankrupt bank, the Jiangxi Bank of China. And I wish I could say that this was the first bank that we've seen in China go completely insolvent, but it's not. Because as you can see right now, the banking sector for China is facing an all-out massive crisis where in just 1 week, 40 of their banks have completely disappeared. I have to repeat that. 40 banks have collapsed in 1 week in China. I mean, that is just total catastrophe for that entire economy. And I wish I could say that the Jiangxi Bank was just a small local regional bank, but it's not. Because as you can see, they were the 44th biggest bank in all of China in 2023. Now the question becomes, what's the root cause of all of these banks collapsing at the same time? And as you can see, that China's smaller banks were already struggling with bad loans and exposures to the ongoing property crisis. And it gets even crazier than that when you look at these numbers. Because as you can see, some 3,800 such troubled institutions exist. They have 55 trillion won, which is 7.5 trillion US dollars in assets, which is 13% of the total banking system that have been mismanaged and accruing vast amounts of bad loans. $7.5 trillion. Wow. And keep in mind that this isn't good for anything going on in the economy for China or the world as a whole. So how will this impact the United States banking system moving forward? The answer is it shouldn't impact it too much. And the reason why is because we have a checks and balances system that happens within our banks where every year there's government oversight that happens within these banks that gives them grades and tells them if they need to make corrections based on their risk management and how they're doing as far as how close to insolvency they are. So right now, I don't expect this to impact the United States too much, but seeing those numbers with the Bank of China, I'm expecting to see a lot more Chinese bank collapses.
That's China. Let's go.
Locks down farms as avian influenza spreads. There it is, Doc. We predicted a month or two ago farms would be locked down. None other than Victoria. Victoria, the Australian province, had led the way during COVID for extreme measures. So they are now locking down farmers and birds and everything else. Also equipment. Listen to this, farmers. Farmers in America, listen to this. Strict quarantine zones restricting the movement of birds and farm equipment have also been put in place. Supermarket caps egg sales amid bird flu outbreaks. So, Doc, they're now limiting how many eggs you can buy in Australia.
You predicted this would happen.
It's in place already in the first country, Australia. We got a short video clip.
Supermarkets have placed restrictions on the purchase of eggs over fears of a potential shortage following the bird flu outbreak. Coles has confirmed customers would be limited to the purchase of 2 cartons, except for customers in Western Australia. Experts warn up to 600,000 egg-laying chickens may need to be culled to stem the spread of the virus.
Chaos.
Locks down farms as
How are more people not talking about what is happening in Bangladesh right now? Because it is actually wild. So this week, massive protests erupted across the country. So in response, not only has the entire population been placed under a curfew enforced by the military, but the government also ordered the closure of all universities and have completely shut down the internet and all mobile services to try and stop the unrest. I mean, can you just imagine if your government shut down your internet. That's a country of over 170 million people now cut off from the world. That's wild. And it's literally turning into something you'd see in a movie because now they've stormed a prison and broken hundreds of people out. The government is being hacked by a group called The Resistance. And on the official website of the Prime Minister, it currently reads, "Stop killing students. It's not a protest anymore. It's a war now." What they're referencing is the 105 people so far killed in these protests, according to an AFP count. So you're probably wondering, what has caused all of this? Well, Bangladesh have a job system in which more than half of government jobs are reserved for specific groups. And out of the total, only 44% of them you can actually get hired for based on merit. And when you have a country where over 40% of the youth are neither working or in university, jobs really matter. Some students want this job system abolished, while others want it to remain, which is why things have turned so violent and words like civil war are floating around now. But the only reason I even found out that this was going on was because hundreds of you guys messaged me. And it's just crazy that things like this can happen in the world and you could just go unaware.
Yeah. That's the reality of this situation. Because now, and things that went overboard all around the world, it's because a global agenda that's being prepared. That global agenda is definitely that mark of the beast. Because there's one thing that all of these nations are on accord with, and that's this globalist agenda. Because what they want to do is keep track of all the people, put them in a situation where they basically have to relinquish their rights. And once they do that, bam, they got you. All right. Problem, reaction, solution, as we talk about often. All right. This is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. This ain't the time to prophesy about war, evil, and pestilence, as the men of the Lord have been doing, from the apostle elders on down. Man, this is a greater time as ever to point to these prophecies and to show you the things that are taking place, because you're not going to see this in your local news network. They're not going to show you this, man. They're going to keep feeding you that same slop and garbage and keep you hypnotized, showing you, them dog competitions and shit and, all kind of crap, man. Keep force feeding it to you because they don't want you to see the reality of things until it's directly upon you. All right. And it's really already too late now, in the sense of people thinking that we got to unite, change and shit and change. That's too late for that. Only thing that you can do now is to get yourself, your household in order, your family, your loved ones. Most of all, work on yourself and prepare for these times, because your salvation is key. It's the only way we're going to make it through this, man. All right. If you're a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native, or scattered to the four corners of the globe, looking like one of the other nations, and your spirit resonates to this word and it's true, the best thing you can do is just get yourself prepared, man. All right. Spiritually, physically, mentally, prepare yourself, because the things that are coming is inevitable, and it's not anything that you can do to stop it. But what can I do? How can I ride this out safely? There's no safe ride. All right. Outside of having faith, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and accomplishing his will, and praying for his mercy and grace in these times, there's nothing else that you can do, man. It says, the prophet which prophesieth of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him. Well, we have not come to prophesy peace, because this is not the time of peace. We are not in the time of peace. We are not in the time of great happiness and comfortability. We are in times of woes, famines, plagues, war, pestilence, and everything else but peace. All right. Matthew 24:6. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, we still got a little ways to go. It's not the end yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And Lord knows, I'm from California, and the amount of earthquakes that have been hitting in California lately, boy, oh boy, you know, something is definitely going down on them fault lines, man. Okay, it's rocking and rolling out there, man. All right, I got family out there, and yo, bro, it's something else right now. All right, shout out to the brothers out there on the West Coast, to the four corners of the globe, man. It says all these are the beginning of sorrows. It says, because these are the beginning of these sorrows. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. And this is Luke 12:51, excuse me. Suppose ye that I've come to bring peace on earth. I tell you, nay, but rather division. And one of the things that you see with this massive amount of division is each nation is choosing their side, because this third world war is coming. And each nation is choosing which side they're going to represent, because there's only two sides. All right, NATO, EU, you know, on the U.S. side, or you know, the BRICS nations, Russia and China and Brazil and what have you. But just understand this, that it's in their agenda to basically cause their people to get in line and in order before this war comes. So this is why you see these heavy crackdowns. A lot of individuals dying in the streets, protests, all right? So the Lord hasn't come to bring peace, because your pastor is rocking you to sleep. Luke 12:52. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. And you already see that now with these elections. People are literally divided in their households, because one side wants to vote for Trump, the other side wants to vote for Kamala. All right, you have social anxiety at an all-time high. People are afraid to even talk to each other. The lack of communication is magnanimous. And then you have people separating themselves amongst their own people, their own races, their own kind, right? Because when you get locked up, or whenever you come up in school, this is the things that you see. You see people hanging around their own kind, so to speak, their own groups of their nations, right? It's Ecclesiasticus 13, starting at 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. And it's not talking about, oh yeah, my neighbor that lives next door to me. Usually the people that are neighboring each other oftentimes are people of the same nation, right? It says, and that's what you see over in the Middle East. A lot of them Arabs and, you know, Ishmael is standing up, and they're really getting unified. They're being pushed together because, you know, the things that Israel, the atrocities that they're committing, is causing them to link up, basically, man, against this threat. And slowly but surely, as we continue to climb closer and closer to this third world war, you know, they continue to link up with each other. It's going to be a devastating thing. We say in the Apocrypha that they remember themselves as dragons, you know, They're remembering themselves as a power because the United States, NATO, they kept them divided for a long time, fighting amongst themselves. That's what all of these psyops in the Middle East and Iraq and Afghanistan were about, to keep them divided as a people. But now that these atrocities are increasing, especially the ones from um, this situation over here in Gaza with these Israelis, that's really pushing them together. All right. It says, all flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. What does that mean? A man is going to cleave to their nation. That's without a doubt. You see this happening right before your eyes. They are cleaving to each other, hanging on to each other, unifying with each other. Every nation is doing that. One of the main ones that's not doing that are you so-called Negroes, man. And you Latino, y'all are still at each other's necks, man. All right? Y'all here running drills on each other, sliding on each other still. But you will notice that since they brought those migrants in, a lot of these, brothers and sisters in these different communities are waking up, but this is after the fact. They're already here. And you was warned about them before they got here. But now that they're here, cats is realizing that, hey, this is a threat. This is a problem, and they're mobilizing mentally, physically, spiritually, because this threat that the elite have brought down on you, down on your heads, is more than you can bear now. And now you want change. When you should have been asking for it for a long time ago, but you were too comfortable. All right. It says, 2nd Ezra 16-39, even so shall the plagues be slack, or shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So north, east, south, west, there's no way to escape this civil unrest, because it's going to be touching all 4 corners of the globe, man, as we come closer and closer to the end. These are the last of days, but these are still the birth pains. O my children, hear my word, make you ready to the battle. And in those evils, be as pilgrims upon the earth. Gonna come a time where everybody got to get up and move. You're gonna have to move around. You're gonna have to jump around. Like the House of Pain. You're gonna have to jump around. Because the things that are taking place are not going to allow you to just sit in one place and ride this out in your bomb shelter or what have you. And it's going to show you why. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. Right. Because you sitting down trying to occupy merchandise and all hell is breaking loose, man, you're going to get jacked up. You're going to get looted. Then you might lose your life. Family might lose their life, man. You trying to hold it down and protect. It's not going to be something that you can just, let me protect my liquor store like in Watts riots and shit. That's not happening. All right? You got to let all of that go. Because right now, people are in an uproar, and food is getting even more scarce as they have more and more recalls on these foods every day. All right? It says, and he that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. Are these landlords and these cats that own these houses, they trying to, hey, it's not going to be any holding on to these things, because as this thing keeps going downhill and building momentum, You're going to have to start counting your losses, man. All right? They that marry as they that shall not, that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore, they that labor in vain. Right, because all of that laboring and cats talking about their savings account, they stacking up. Look, they're going to change that money system overnight. All of that is just going to be a dream. All right? That's what it really is now. An American dream. And if you think you living it, your ass is already finished because you are asleep, my friend. All right? It says, for strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives, for in captivity and famine shall they get children. I'm gonna have to use that scripture for another lesson as well, because children right now are a prime target. You got these pedophiles out here, and you got the U.S. government seeking to give more laws to these pedophiles, to these weirdos. You know what I'm saying? And these ABC, these alphabet people, they're giving them more and more rights. And trust me, they already made songs about coming for your children, coming after them and coming for them. And I wish I was joking about that shit, but I'm not. Gay man's choir talking and singing about that shit, you know? But everybody want to sit back and they want to, oh, just let them, it doesn't hurt me, it doesn't affect me, oh man, it just let them be free. Yeah, you don't realize what you're getting yourself into, but you'll realize when it's too late. All right, when you got a whole bunch of these weirdos, freaks, men in dresses and shit, knocking down your door, coming for your children, holding men down and sexually assaulting them. Hey man, this is the days that we coming into, man. Like Sodom and Gomorrah times 100, man. It says, Second Ezra 15:15, for the sword and its destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So this civil unrest is building. All right. You got people talking about the migrants here in the U.S., and you got these militias, and you know they talking about biker gangs and shit. Hell's Angels coming to deal with them, building up all this different propaganda, because what they want to do is they want to see the government wants to cause you to clash against each other, so they can bring in this martial law, man. Once they bring that in and they bring in them troops, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for everybody. Nobody wins. Once again, they're keeping you hypnotized, so you can't even see that. You're not even hip to that. All they see is red. Oh man, they're doing this and they're taking over this. And you don't even realize, you know, the bigger picture, because that's what they want you to do, is fail to realize the bigger picture. But there shall be sedition. What's sedition? Sedition is people basically uprising against the government. All right, so to call sedition to be like someone telling you, hey, you know, the truth about the government, and hey, don't vote. That can be seen as an act of sedition. Don't you know, fall for this second lockdown and getting the jab. That could be seen as an act of sedition. You know, telling people, for instance, the men of the Lord, telling people to wake up and to prepare for the times that's coming, not to trust your government, right? That's seen as an act of sedition. Okay? It says, for there shall be sedition among men. Yeah, mistrusting your government. All right, what they would call anarchy and chaos will lead to this. And invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. They don't care about these politicians and presidents and people in high places. You're gonna be like, man, I gotta eat, man. I gotta do what the fuck I gotta do. And so all hell breaks loose. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right? And everybody's gonna do what's in their power. If they got a bunch of guns and shit, and they want what you got, guess what? The Most High ain't with you. Boy, you ain't got nothing either. Man, odds are stacked against you. Because at the end of the day, only Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father and the Son Yahweh Shai, the one ignorantly called Jesus Christ, will be able to deliver you out of this time of Jacob's trouble that we're coming into. Global chaos is here. Famine, plagues, all here. And it's universal. So it's not something you can run away from. So I don't think you're going to be able to just up and jump, scoot out. Because this shit is going to come to everybody. You dig? All right. So get ready for this. Are you ready for this? Hey, you better get ready in the spirit. Physically, mentally, and spiritually as much as you can. Because when it happens, it's going to be too late to try to get your affairs in order in. Global chaos, baby. Right here. Pray you will edify, do your research, be circumspect until the next time I bid you shalom.